90% of startups fail, and the number one reason isn't running out of money, it's building something no one wants. And I know this because I've lived it multiple times, and it's painful. But when I launched my latest startup, RB2B, we went from idea to 1 million in just 6 weeks. The difference wasn't luck, it was how I validated the idea before writing a single line of code. From that experience, combined with building and selling my SaaS company Robly for 8 figures, and then bootstrapping retention.com to over 20 million ARR, I've learned that validation is everything. So in this video, I'm going to break down the exact step-by-step process I used to validate RB2B before building it, and how you can copy the same system to validate any AI startup idea and figure out if people actually want it before you build it. Let's get into it. Here's why most AI startup founders get validation wrong. As I've said, I've been through this. Let me take you back to 2012 when I started my first startup, Robly Email Marketing. I was 32 years old. I'd been on Wall Street for 10 years. I had zero relevant startup experience. My plan was to build an email marketing platform, basically a near replica of MailChimp. It took us 18 months to build because I thought we needed 85% of their features before we could launch. This entire time, I spoke to zero potential customers. I sat around and waited for the product to be done. When it was finally ready in January of 2014, I modeled out 800 paying customers for month 1, and we ended up getting 10. It was totally embarrassing. By some act of God, we found a growth hack that got us to 3 million ARR. We figured out how to crawl the internet for sign-up widgets from competitors like Constant Contact and MailChimp, and made their customers a 50% more opens for half the price offer. But that was a stroke of luck and the only reason that the business survived. But then we got completely stuck. We topped out at 3 million ARR and shrunk at about 0.5% per month over the next several years. I tried to break out of it. I spent over $1 million building an entirely new email marketing application to go after the market segment above MailChimp. Again, we didn't talk to anyone while we were building it. When we launched it at a trade show, people's eyes glazed over, and it turns out around 10 other vendors were already filling that hole that we thought we were filling. We literally deleted the code and moved on. $1 million in a full year of my life completely wasted. That experience taught me the most important lesson in startups and AI. Your intuition is a horrible indicator of what the market actually wants. I didn't speak to anyone before we launched. I growth hacked way too early, and I tried to scale something that wasn't good enough to scale. So let me show you the framework I use now, the one that took RB2B from 0 to 1 million ARR in 6 weeks. Step 1 is you start with conversations, not code. The biggest mistake I see founders make, and I made it myself, is building before you talk to anyone. Building in stealth mode is one of the dumbest things a startup founder can do. Nobody's going to steal your idea. Anybody who is capable of executing your idea is already busy doing something else. You need feedback from the market more than you need your precious secrecy. Before you write a single line of code, you need a sizzling one-liner. This is an exciting, provocative statement that clearly describes the problem you're solving. It should be a clear, concise, and very differentiated statement. Anything else will fall on deaf ears. For RB2B, our sizzling one-liner was person-level website visitor identification, 6 words, and immediately people understood the value of what we were talking about. We used this one-liner to open more than 300 discovery conversations, and it remains the headline on our website to this day. Now, you need to get as many client calls as humanly possible. With RB2B, my co-founder Santosh and I did over 300 discovery calls between October 2023 and March 2024. These weren't sales calls, they were validation calls. We were trying to understand exactly what people wanted and how much they'd be willing to pay for it. Here's how we got those calls. I'd been building an audience on LinkedIn by sharing the real messy process of running retention.com, my other business, including all the failures. I pivoted my LinkedIn content entirely towards B2B SaaS and had 3 of the most banger posts in a row I've ever had that got 1.8 million impressions combined, 3 posts in a row. I started writing posts on the shortcomings of company level identification, and at the end of every post, I put a simple CTA. DM me if you want to identify your website visitors and push their LinkedIn profiles to Slack. It's 100% free. My DMs absolutely exploded, hundreds of messages. But even if you don't have an audience yet, you can still get these calls. Start with your personal network on LinkedIn. See if anyone connected to you is in your ideal customer profile and send them a direct message. If they're connected to someone you know, ask for an intro. Offer paid advisory roles to directors and below. Fun fact, my co-founder Diana Ross, I landed her using this exact LinkedIn DM template. And here's the approach that I love from Alina Vanderberg. She was pre-revenue at what's now a 40 million ARR startup called Chili Piper. She went to every single B2B meetup in New York, observed who the most connected people were in the room, and approached them with a notepad and a drawing of original product vision on it. She asked them, would you buy something like this? And if not, what would have to change? She still does this 9 years later. Once you're on these calls, here are the exact questions to ask. Number one, do you understand the problem I'm trying to solve? If they don't get it, your messaging is off. Number two, do you have this problem? If they don't, they're not your ideal customer. Number three, how are you solving this problem today? This tells you who your real competition is. Number four, would you pay for the solution if I could get it to you tomorrow? And watch their body language, not just their words. People love lying to people who are starting startups. They just want to be friendly. Number five, what else would the solution have to do for you to pay for it? This is gold, and this is where they tell you what your roadmap should look like. And number six, I'm thinking of charging X dollars per month. Would you pay that? Always test pricing conversation. Your gut is a terrible indicator. The more calls you do, the better your pitch will get, and a pattern will soon emerge. With RB2B, the pattern was crystal clear. Everyone was frustrated with company level identification because it told them things like someone from Microsoft in Atlanta is on your site, which is completely useless. They wanted to know the actual person, the pages they looked at, and how to follow up immediately. Once we saw the same pattern across hundreds of calls, we knew we had something. Step two is try to get people to pay before you build. Positive feedback is not validation. Yeah, that sounds interesting means absolutely nothing. Very few people will be honest with you about your idea. People have a bias to be nice, if for no other reason than to end the conversation sooner. The single best way to figure out if someone actually likes your idea is to get them to hand you money. Even $1 is incredibly powerful. So much more powerful than words. With RB2B, we tried to get people to pay us before the product existed. We tried to charge $495 a month for a spreadsheet of LinkedIn URLs, and that's it, a spreadsheet. We didn't even have a product, and hardly anyone paid. But then we discovered a magic moment when we showed people a Slack notification on our phone with headshots and LinkedIn profile URLs popping up in real time. And I'd say, these people just hit the retention.com website. Their eyes lit up every single time. People were saying things like, this is nuts. I can't believe this. This feels like I'm cheating or something. And that gap between what people said they'd pay us for versus what made them genuinely react was the key insight. The spreadsheet didn't excite anyone, but the real-time Slack notifications, that was a product. You need to look for magic moments in every single interaction you have with your customers. Overjoyed facial expressions, emails that say they can't believe how good this is. Magic moments are when unicorns are born. And here's the question you should be asking yourself. If I took my product away from these users right now, how upset would they get? The more upset they get, the more fun you're going to have scaling. The less upset they get, the more of a grind your whole life is going to be. Step three is build the absolute minimum viable product. Once you've found the thing that makes people's eyes light up, now you build the absolute minimum. Be ruthless about keeping your product as lean as possible. Don't sink time and money into developing unnecessary features. Instead, find a way to do what you need to do manually, even if it's inefficient, clunky, and feels like a time suck. You'll save yourself a ton of cash when you realize it's not actually what your prospects want, and therefore you shouldn't build it. With our B2B, we manually onboarded beta testers by hand starting in October 2023. We sent them a pixel over email, sent them a daily spreadsheet, also via email, and we did this for 5 full months before even putting up a website. We could have built the tools and automated all of that, but we didn't. Doing this manually allowed us to talk to customers more often, be closer to them as they onboarded and used our product. It let us learn things we never would have learned with automation, and it got our product into customers' hands months earlier than we would have done otherwise. Focus on the smallest possible niche. When Nathan Barry launched ConvertKit, which is now over 50 million ARR bootstrapped, he didn't launch an email marketing tool for everybody. He started by saying it was an email marketing tool for food bloggers. And after getting the first few influential food bloggers, it was easy to reach out to other food bloggers because the most famous ones had already switched from MailChimp. Over the years, he expanded into many other niches, but he started with a super tight niche. Remember, the riches are in the niches, and no niche is too small if you absolutely dominate it. So don't rush to automate. Stay manual as long as you possibly can. The insights you get in that phase are worth more than any feature you could build. Nothing is more highly correlated to your success than how well you navigate the discovery and product market fit process. Step 4 is test pricing with real users. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. This is where we really struggled. When we officially launched our B2B, here's how we structured the offer. I'd always admired MailChimp's freemium model, so we decided to give the LinkedIn push to Slack completely free forever. Competitors were charging hundreds of thousands of dollars, and all they did was tell you the company name. They didn't even ID the actual person. Our paid tier was $149 a month for business emails, plus all integrations and access to Slack. This generated over 1,600 waitlist signups and 300 meetings in just a few months. But shortly thereafter, we hit a brutal wall. We had 3,000 signups and only 13 paying customers. That's a terrible conversion rate, and it was keeping me up at night. Most founders would hide this. I did exactly the opposite. I posted about the problem constantly on LinkedIn. I was completely transparent about the real numbers. Commenters helped me figure out the pricing. They gave me direct feedback on exactly what it should look like. We fixed the pricing based on that feedback and got to a 12.5% touchless free to paid conversion rate, meaning that 12.5% of free users upgrade to paid without us doing anything. No sales calls, no demos, just the product selling itself. That's the unlock we needed. After fixing this pricing, growth exploded. We hit 1 million ARR in just 6 weeks. And by the way, if you want to see what this looks like in practice, you can start by identifying your own visitors for free by clicking the first link in the description. It takes less than 5 minutes to set up and will push LinkedIn profiles of your website visitors to Slack completely free. Step 5 is how you know you've actually achieved product market fit. A lot of founders think they have product market fit when they don't, and they have some revenue, some users, and they think it's time to scale. They hire a bunch of people, turn on all the paid channels, and wonder why nothing works. I've been there. At retention.com, we figured out that large Shopify stores were our ICP, and we experienced the most insane product market fit I've ever seen. We were the only vendor who did what we did in the entire Shopify ecosystem, and there was more inbound demand than we had salespeople to take demos. We were closing $30,000 deals in 7 days with an 80% close rate, and we scaled to 12 million ARR with just 6 people. So I hired 50 people in 60 days because I thought we were ready to scale, called my shot on LinkedIn, and I predicted we'd triple revenue from 15 million to 45 million in a year. Instead, we barely grew 40%. We'd been overselling, competitors copied our product and undercut us, and I had to let go of my entire BDR team. That happened because I confused early traction with true product market fit. Here's what real product market fit actually looks like, and until you have it, you don't know. Don't run ads, don't do SEO, don't work with influencers, and don't seek out UGC. Do not build a partner program, and do not sponsor newsletters. Only do manual things with one-to-one conversations until you get there. Nothing will work if you don't have product market fit. Everything will work if you do. Here are the signals that you actually have it. You have very strong word of mouth and high customer retention. If you did nothing, you would see exponential growth in your business. You see people enduring a horrible user experience, but saying they love your product. For example, at retention.com, people were using our identity features, downloading data, and manually uploading into Klaviyo and telling us they couldn't live without it. This was a very strong sign of product market fit. People willing to prepay for things in your product that are not even there yet is another great sign, and it feels like the market is pulling product out of you instead of you pushing product into the market. And last but not least, your customers would be livid if you took the product away. If you don't have these signals, stay in validation mode. Keep having conversations, keep iterating, keep doing things manually. The key is staying tiny until you get to the point where people would be infuriated if you took the product away. The validation phase is something not to rush through. It's the foundation everything else is built on. When we had real product market fit at RB2B, growth took care of itself. We went from 1 million to 4 million to 7 million ARR with a team of just 3 people. But none of that would have been possible if we didn't do the validation work first. Now, if you've already validated your AI startup idea and you're ready to start growing, one of the fastest ways to generate leads is to know exactly who's visiting your website. And that's what RB2B does. We identify your anonymous website visitors at the person level, not just a company, and we'll send you their LinkedIn profile, name, job title, and business email completely for free, which means you can connect with them on LinkedIn, drop them into an email sequence, or just pick up the phone. And since they were literally just on your website, the conversion rates are nothing like cold outreach. So click the first link in the description to start using RB2B today. And if you want to see the best SaaS marketing strategies that are available right now, then watch this video next.